gentlemen, it's Colbert Tech Repair. We get everything tech, news, gaming, and nerd related. And today I'm doing a continuation on my AMD versus Nvidia video. Now, if you did see the video, if you didn't, I'll link it probably right here or down in the description. You can go to it. I did a price to performance evaluation with a bunch of different benchmarking and price comparisons. Well, a lot of people wanted to see what the GPUs actually do in games. So I had an Excel spreadsheet that a viewer gave me. I will link it down in the description also. You can check all this out yourself. I also have a couple other websites I'm going to pull up here just to show you. Now, to start out with, these are provided by Maximum PC, Tom's Hardware, Hardware Canucks, and Overclock 3D. Now, this particular test was using Firestrike, Heaven 4, Valley 1, Crysis 3, Far Cry 3, Tomb Raider, Metro Last Light, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4. Alright, so to start off the test here, I just did an average of all the tests shown above. This is on 2560 by 1600 resolution. The R9 290 averaged 31.1 frames per second. The 290X averaged 38.2. The GTX 780 averaged 33.6, and the GTX Titan averaged 36.8. Now, the 290X was faster than the 290 in all tests. The 290X was faster in all tests besides Metro Last Light, which the 780 had a 2 FPS overhead. And the Titan and the 290X traded back and forth between a few FPS. But you can see that the R9 290X in the average test beat out the GTX 780 and the Titan. Now I move to the 1920 by 1080 test with the same things above. The R9 290 scored 58.2, and the GTX 770 scored 47.7. And at 4K resolution, the R9 290 scored 27.1, and the GTX 770 scored an average of 25.6. The 2560 by 1440 resolution with Assassin's Creed 3, Crysis 3, Dirt, Far Cry 3, Hitman Absolution, Max Payne 3, Metro Last Light, and Tomb Raider. The R9 290X Uber had 56.5 average frames per second. The R9 290 averaged 53.2. The 7970 GHz edition averaged 43.2. The 780 Ti averaged 61.2, beating out all the other cards. The 780 averaged 49.8. The 770 averaged 42, and the 760 averaged 33.9 or 34. So we can see from this test of all the games above, at 2560 by 1440, the 780 Ti came ahead of the 290X by about 4 frames per second across all tests, and the 290 beat out all of the other offerings from Nvidia. Now, I'm going to bring up, this is from Guru 3D, this is the AMD R9 295X2 testing at 3840 by 2160, which is 4K resolution. The R95X2 scored 63 average frame per second in Hitman Absolution. The 290X 2A Crossfire was 60, and the 280 Ti 2A SLI was 56. So pretty much a Titan Black. The 295X2 beat the Titan Black by about 7 frames per second. You can see here the 290X beat out the 780 Ti at 4K, along with the Titan and the 780. Now, they did BioShock Infinite at 4K. The R9 295X2 scored a 57. The GTX 780 Ti 2A SLI, which is pretty much a Titan Black, scored a 55. The 2A R9 290 scored 50. The 780 Ti at 35. The Titan at 33. They did Medal of Honor Warfighter at 4K. The 295X2 scored a 56. The 780 Ti 2A scored a 55, so that's pretty even there between the Titan Black and the 295X2. The Ti scored a 33, and the Titan scored a 31, along with the 290X scoring a 29. So you can see the 780 Ti is showing to be more powerful than the 290X. In Tomb Raider in 4K, the 295X2 scored a 79, the Titan Black scored a 70, the 780 Ti scored a 43, and the 290X scored a 40. Now from here we move on to Titan Black. Now, the Titan Black, they're doing this versus single GPU cards, so it can get kind of iffy which way we want to go here, but this is their review. So at 1920 by 1080, the Titan Black scored 66 frames per second. The 780 Ti scored 64, the Titan at 60, and the 290X at 59. At 2560 by 1440, the Titan Black scored 44, the 780 Ti scored 43, the Titan at 40, and the 290X at 40. On 4K, the R9 290X scored a 28, the Titan Black scored a 25, the 780 Ti scored a 25, and the Titan scored a 23. So at 4K, a 290X actually beat out the Titan Black. That's the 4GB model. Next, we'll move on to Crysis 3 performance. In Crysis 3 at 1920 by 1080, the Titan Black scored a 61, the 780 Ti scored a 61, the Titan scored a 55, and the 290X scored a 54, with the 780 falling behind at 52. At 2560 by 1440, the Titan Black scored a 39, the 780 Ti scored a 38, the R9 290X scored a 36, the regular Titan at 36, and the 780 at 34. At 4K resolution, the Titan Black scored an 18, the 780 Ti scored an 18, the R9 290X scored 17, the R9 290 scored 17, and the Titan scored 17. So these are all very close when it comes to 4K resolutions. I would expect the Titan Black to excel a little bit more here because of the higher gigabyte rating, but it did not do so. So, what do we gather from all this information? Well, it seems that the R9 290X is more powerful than the 780, 770, 760, the Titan in almost all tests. And in 4K, the 290X scores on par, if not just a little bit lower than the Titan Black, which is very surprising to me. Now, here is the pricing as of right now on Newegg. The 290X is priced at $500. The GTX 780 is priced at $500 to $530, and the 290X beats out the 780 on almost every test. Now, the 780 Ti beats the 290X, but it is priced $150 higher. So if you do want better performance, the 780 Ti is better than the 290X, but at a premium of $150 and probably an average of 4 frames per second. So you do the math, for 4 frames per second, I don't think that's really worth it. The GTX Titan is $1,000 if you can find one. The Titan Black is $1,100, which is pretty much 2 780 Ti's. And the 295X2 is $1,500. Now, the 295X2 beats out everything. It beats out even the Titan Z, which came out at $3,000, which I didn't even put in here. So I hope this helped you guys figure things out a little bit better, and be able to wrap your mind around it. It took me a long time to get all these numbers figured out and everything, so I hope this did help you in the long run. There's really not much to say here besides, really, AMD has the best offerings on the market right now in the 500 and under price point, regardless of anything. The 780 is its closest competitor, and the 290X beats the 780 on almost every test that has been performed. And the 295X2 does beat out the Titan Black and the Titan Z at $3,000. So the 295X2 is more expensive than the Titan Black, but it does beat it in performance benchmarking standards. So I hope this cleared everything up for you guys, for you gamers out there. Wish I could give you some overclocked testing, but that would have to be in another video. If I can come up with a bunch of overclocked cards that are the same overclocks, it's going to be really hard to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it cleared some things up. If you liked, give it a like. If you didn't, feel free to give it a dislike. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section right down below. I know there's going to be some controversy saying I'm an AMD fanboy, whatever, but the 780 Ti does beat out AMD in that range of cards. So yeah, I can't really say much. You can find me here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at TankoBear92, and you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/CobraTechRepair. See you guys next time.